The stories featured in this video explore dark and sensitive themes. As a Christian, my stance is firm. These stories are shared purely for entertainment, educational value, and narrative history, never to glorify, promote, or validate the occult. Listener discretion is advised. Hey, how are you doing? It looks like we're gonna call this series The Dark Detour. You might have seen me post the link to the channel or the page where most of the stories are going to be housed from now on. So let's go ahead and delve into it. And now, if this is your second or third time watching content from me, then I will officially call you a passersby. Yung mga napadaan lang in this dark detour that we are taking. The dark detour is your place to stop, rest, and get your fix of some stories from beyond the veil. Salamat sa pagdaan if you're watching this late at night or in the morning or whenever you're watching it. But of course, beware, because once you turn down this path, the road back is never quite the same. And so let's go ahead and begin with two stories for today. Our first one is just like the last one. It hits quite close to home because this was given to me by a friend. And it looks like today the theme is some experiences in the office. And so let's begin. The first one is called The Other Guy. I will read this from his point of view. Nangyari to sa office. Mas maaga ako pumasok kesa sa usual schedule ko nun, kaya halos wala pang tao sa paligid. Sumakay ako sa elevator, paakyat ng production floor. Yung elevator kasi namin may camera, yung pwedeng magsalita sa security sa mic kapag may napansin silang bawal. Mostly for policy stuff lang naman, like bawal ang kahit anong sombrero or head covering unless for religious reasons. Para kitang-kita pa rin yung mukha mo sa CCTV footage. So, ayun, nasa loob na ako ng elevator, nag-close na yung doors, tapos biglang pumasok yung bosses ng security sa mic. Sir, pakitanggal po yung sombrero nyo. Akala ko talaga, pinagtitripan na lang ako. Wala naman kasi akong suot na sombrero at the time. So sinabi ko, anong sombrero? Tapos, biglang sumagot si ate, security. Ay, sorry sir, hindi po kayo, yung pong katabi nyo. Mag-isa lang ako sa elevator na yon. And that is The Other Guy. That's your first story for today. I don't know who that is. He doesn't know who that is, but The Other Guy. Now let's go and move on to the second story for today. This one we got from Reddit. It is from the subreddit paranormal, Philippines. And it was posted by Tulip4665. And we will call this The Maintenance Lady. This one I will read in English. It was 3 years ago, but whenever I remember it, it still gives me the creeps. I was working the graveyard shift on the production floor out of 3 teams. Ours was the only one scheduled that night, so there were barely 15 of us in the entire building. Around 2:10 a.m., about 20 minutes before my shift resumed, I headed back to the production area to grab my tumbler so I could make coffee in the pantry. When I walked in, the floor was completely empty. Some were still finishing lunch while others were on break. It didn't feel scary at first because the place was huge and brightly lit. My cubicle was tucked away near the far end. I grabbed my tumbler and turned back towards the glass doors when I noticed someone standing at the opposite side of the room. It looked like someone was cleaning up. That specific corner was a bit dim, but the main lights were enough to confirm a figure was standing there. I was just going to ignore her, but then she giggled. It was a quiet, suppressed laugh. Annoyed, I raised an eyebrow, thinking, what's the deal? I turned to look at her, but she was already looking right at me. I froze. She was unnaturally skinny, with a wide, unnatural smile stretching across her face. But her eyes were massive, bulging out as if they were about to pop. locked entirely on mine. We just stood there, staring at each other. I was paralyzed. I desperately tried to scream, but my throat completely closed up. No sound came out. After that, everything went black. I woke up in the clinic, my 2 teammates standing over me. They said the roving security guard found me unconscious on the floor, sprawled right in front of the glass door. I was deathly pale. That's when they told me the history of that room. Years ago, they said, a maintenance staff worker had suffered from what we know in the Philippines as bangungot in that exact area and never woke up. The maintenance lady. And those are our stories for today. I think it's pretty. There's a lot of like office stories like this. This is not. There's only a few of what's been told to me personally or what I've read online. So I don't know. Do you guys have any scary stories in the office? And for the record, I'm not saying this happened in my office. But yeah, like there are stories in many different industries and different offices, particularly those that, operate during the night shift. I guess it's just, the lack of sleep, guys. Who knows, right? They might be out there, or it just might be your brains or minds playing tricks on us. But how do we know? And that is our 2 stories for today. Thank you for joining me in another episode of The Dark Detour. Thank you guys, and see you guys next time. Bye.